All right. Good evening, everyone. This is our first PTA meeting of the year, the school year. Welcome. We're so happy that everyone's here. I'm Jamie Wallace-Butcher. I'm the PTA president this year. For those of you that I don't know yet, I have a first grader. His name is Quincy, and I have a fourth grader. Her name is Evan Grace. I've been at King Arts in some capacity on the PTA since we joined. And I'm really excited for the progress that we've made and the things that we've done and that we're going to continue to do. Executive team is shown right here. We've got Megan Shea. She's our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion VP. Kristen White. She handles all of our programming. When we talk about our PTA meetings, we typically have a speaker for a part or a section of the meeting. And so Kristen helps us curate that individual or individuals. And then she also is working with our cultural celebrations and events. We have Christian Farr, he is our treasurer. Jason Nemo, he's our secretary. He actually is our former treasurer, and he also was on the PTA council. So we're excited to have Jason. He's kind of our legacy volunteer. We have Betsy Harwell, she's on fundraising. Jeff Parker, he does guardian engagement, so our room parents, community connectors. We've got Carolyn Komet. She just joined the team this year, an executive team. She's doing membership and community engagement. So she really is helping us partner with our community, businesses, local businesses, and also with membership. So she really helped kind of spearhead our summer social and our welcome back coffee. We also have Matthew Pearson. He does branding and marketing. He's been on the exec team for a few years now. All those awesome eye-grabbing, catching flyers. Matthew creates those, and he also maintains all of the content on our PTA website. So heavy load, and we're so thankful for that. And also, how can I forget Matthew? The directory. So Matthew also helps us with collating the directory once we get the data from the district. We also have Carrie Kohler and Sarah Folger. They're on the teams. They joined the exec team this year on communications. And I don't know you guys, but communications has been fantastic. I feel like we've made a lot of leaps and bounds in terms of getting our reminders out, letting people know what's going on, being very timely. And there's a lot happening in our district. So thanking them so much for joining the team. We also have 4 teacher liaisons this year, which I'm super excited about. So we have Mary Young, she's returning. She's a first grade teacher. We have Kelly Rooney, he's joined the team. He represents our middle school. He's an 8th grade math teacher. We have Jamie Baskin, she's special education teacher. She's joining us again. And we have Amy Church as well. So our 4th and 8th grade band director, and she's on the call today. So super excited for our teacher liaisons. And this is really an important role for us. It was essential that we had representation and voices throughout our school, right? We're not physically in the school right now. And even when we were, we don't know all the operations and the ins and outs that our educators and staffs are undergoing. And so when we want to initiate a new program or we want to think about an initiative that is supporting the school, we want to make sure that it's in line and in step with our school improvement team, right? And also what the goals and the objectives of our school leadership. And so they really are kind of our voice, kind of our gut check on most often instances, and also helps us get information, feedback from our teachers in terms of the things and the programs that we're doing. So really, really critical members of the team. All right, so before we jump into the agenda, we want to make sure that we kind of set some community norms, right? So we have some new families joining tonight. So we just want to make sure that everyone's kind of aware of, how we operate and communicate together as a community, especially who are virtual. So sessions are recorded, right? And this is for our families and community members who can't join us, right? So please keep yourself muted unless you're talking. It's helpful if you change your name to your full name, right? That just helps us to interact, call on each other if we need to, as well as for voting purposes. So members of the PTA, oftentimes we will be voting on certain issues and topics. And so we need to make sure that we're capturing your names for the voting record. When speaking, it's really important that we all consider the community impact that we have. So we must really kind of pause and think, and consider what we might be saying, right? How is it going to land with members within our community? I think we're in a day and age where positive intent is not quite enough, right? We really need to think about what is the impact that what we're saying, how is it going to impact our community? Also, submit your questions via the chat feature if you like, or also privately or directly to Matthew Pearson, our marketing and branding person. So you can just hit directly to him if you want to stay confidential or private. You're also welcome to chat in the box generally. And then also too, as presenters, we will oftentimes pause, right, just to see if there's any questions that you have. Let's use the I's perspective and keep things really local and centered to oneself, right? We can only really think and talk about our own personal experiences, right, and our perspectives. So we often try to refer in the I. If conversations get uncomfortable, we have to understand and recognize that that might happen, right? So, there's a variety of different topics that we will address during PTA general meetings. And so sometimes it can come a little bit comfortable because we're all coming from different I perspectives, right? But just know if we're using empathy, right? If we are also monitoring our own participation, we're not dominating or not speaking up when we feel like we compelled to do so. We just have to expect sometimes and accept non-closure on those topics as they will move to the next conversation. Okay. With that, are there any questions? Okay. All right, so here's our agenda. We're first going to pass the May 2021 PTA minutes. Hopefully we'll pass them. And then we'll talk about the strategic plan because the strategic plan is very much tied to our budget for the school year. Okay. We then will go through executive team committee updates. We've got one from Megan with DEI, Guardian Engagement from Jeff Parker, and then fundraising from Betsy. She's going to talk to us about Dream Week. Then we'll have the state of the school with Dr. Henderson and Q&A. So questions about any of the content that we've shared. So that's our agenda. So first up, you guys hopefully can see the minutes from May. If you just want to scan those. And for those that were at the meeting in May, if we can get a second for an approval on this, that'd be great. So just take a moment and look at the minutes.
This is Jody. I second the approval.
Thank you, Jody. I think that's all we need, right? I think we need one more, someone else to do something.
Usually you have someone move to.
Yes, thank you, Megan.
Pass them and then a second.
Just kidding. I'm going to move and then someone else can second, and then we can take the vote.
All right. Look at that. Teamwork. Thank you. I knew there was something with two, but move and then accept. So we'll remember that for next time. All right. Okay. So the strategic plan. So many of you know strategic plans typically span 3 years, right? Because first it takes a team, an organization to kind of identify what those priorities are, get them in place. And then you want to be able to have measurable outcomes, right, against those goals. And so that's where our plan is 3 years. Over the summer, the executive team met and we really focused on what the mission is of the PTA. So the mission of King Arts PTA is to make every child's potential a reality by securing the educational, physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being of every child. Okay, so that is our mission. And when we think about our mission, it really kind of falls into 4 components as we assessed where we were at as a community. The first really is about creating a feeling of fellowship among King Arts students first, right? Educators, staff, and caregivers, really creating spaces for people to come together around shared attitudes, interests, and goals. We might not all have the same exact shared attitudes, interests, and goals, but we have some commonality, right, amongst us. The next component, which is really tied closely to community, but is a little bit different, is a sense of belonging. So fostering a felt experience, right? That's something that's intangible. It's just a felt experience of security and support, where there's an acceptance, there's inclusion, and there's identity of one's authentic self. It's embraced as a member here at King Arts. And so that's something we want every single member in our community to feel. That's a priority of ours, and that's a goal that we're striving to achieve. The next one is social justice. And this is really about advocating for equitable access and opportunity for everyone, particularly those in greatest need. And when we think about social justice, I know some of us opted into King Arts thinking about the namesake of the school. And so this is really closely tied to that. Literary and fine arts, we are Literary and Fine Arts Magnet School. So really advocating and supporting and promoting King Arts literary and fine arts curriculum that integrates the school's 4 pillars, which are arts integrated learning, enhanced fine arts learning, performance, publication, and enhanced literacy, and inclusion. So those are our 4 priorities. With those 4 priorities, and I touched on this a little bit, is we've got goals, right? So you've got your priorities, what are we focused on, and then what are we heading towards? And so when we talk about community, it's really encouraging, promoting, and providing opportunities for all students, educators, staff, caregivers to collaborate and engage with an emphasis on centering the holistic well-being of every child. And this is really important to us. We've got a very diverse population, very diverse needs. And so we need to make sure that we have diverse offerings. One of the focuses, there's many focuses, but one of the really core focuses for the team this year is our middle school, right? So really looking for ways as parents, partnering with our teachers and our staff, how do we engage our middle schoolers? How do we create experiences, right? Despite the pandemic, but in safe ways, how do we create experiences, social interactions that are positive, that are uplifting, and that really gets them excited, right? It's focused on them and their needs. Also, is our Horizon and SPED program, right? So our families that are in the RISE SPED program, really making sure that we are creating spaces and support, right, that they need. We've heard from feedback in the previous year, and as well as in the report that came out, performance report that came out from our special education department, where our SPED program is. And so we're really focused on how can we help and support and educate and bring awareness for our students in those programs. We also, as a PTA, will effectively use data and a wide spectrum of viewpoints and experiences to discover new ways to help support the social, emotional, and development needs of our community. Okay. When it comes to sense of belonging, it's really about developing and maintaining the PTA's capacity to know, serve, and engage and build community connections, cultivating an anti-racist school community that every child deserves to live in, right? And live up to our namesake. And then as an executive team and a membership of the PTA, we really wanted to reflect the demographic makeup of King Arts. Social justice, engaging King Arts community and social justice advocacy at all levels. That can be at our school level, our district level, local level, and state advocacy. So really developing those networks. And when it comes to literary and fine arts, our goal is for King Arts to be awarded the Magnet School of America National Certification and recognized as one of the most exemplary magnet schools in the nation that provides high quality, innovative instructional programs that promote choice, equity, diversity, and academic excellence for all students. So those are our goals. Now, once we landed on the goals, the team then dived into what are the strategic initiatives that we're going to support and we're going to execute against those goals. So we created those. And then obviously we had to then also create metrics so that we can channel and monitor if we're making progress against those goals. And so those parts as well was part of the strategic planning process. When we think about the plan, we then also have to think about how are we going to support it financially, right? And so as an organization, we are part of the One Fund. All of District 65 schools are part of the One Fund. And it's something that we, and Megan's on the call, she can help speak to this as well. It's something that we've migrated over time, but now the plan, the One Fund is here. And so what happened is that in the summer, right, all schools contributed what they had in terms of finances, revenue that they hadn't spent in the previous years. It went into the One Fund. And then a very sophisticated and thoughtful formula was created. And so then each school, based on the formula, right, the outcome of that formula, the results were then, funds were transitioned back into our bank accounts. And so for the school year of 2020, I call it 2022, even though we're in 2021, but 2022, so this school year, we have $42,000, all right, that is in our budget. And just for, because I am a researcher, for those of you that don't know, I like to think, okay, so we got 42 this year, right? What did we get last year? And what kind of funding have we used in the past? And it's miraculous, but it's literally on target with what our budget has been historically. We typically, right, Jason, because he used to be our former treasurer, it's around what we would typically raise and use in a calendar year. It just happened to work out that way. So I will tell you, we are still in the process of identifying and allocating where the funds go. Because as some of you know, our extracurricular programming, right, it's been on hold till November 1st. And, you know, we've got to kind of evaluate what the needs are of our school, because that's really important to understand what programming that we want to offer and what we want to support and finance. We also have, you know, you can see there about 45% of the budget we're targeting to our literary and fine arts goals, okay? And so our educators have been trying to, not trying, but they're getting our school open and running, right? Amidst, you know, some challenges. And so they're also too trying to figure out, okay, can we have a musical, right? Do all of our students, can we get our instruments in the students' hands and practice? So there's a lot of things that they too are kind of building out the calendar and trying to figure out. And then also, you know, we've got a grocery resource program. So we've got a proposal out for that. Some really new and innovative ways to support that program. We've got our scholarships. So I'm saying all that to say, this is very preliminary and estimated. And our goal is when we come back in October, we'll be able to put more specific dollars to line items and share that with the community for discussion and vote. But I did want to kind of give you a rough estimate based on what we've seen in the past and how we've allocated dollars in the past, but then also be able to kind of ladder up to how these programs and initiatives fall within our 4 priorities. So with that, I'm going to pause and ask Matthew, have we gotten any questions?
No questions related to this thus far. A question about distribution of minutes via email. But so maybe I don't know if there's like a new business section. We can talk about that later, but not, you know.
So is it posting our minutes on the
just distributing them via email.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we can put them on the website with this, you know, like the video, which we do pretty typically, but I don't know, maybe we could figure that out. Like we could maybe ask people if they want to opt into emails for the minutes or whatever. We could figure out a way to accommodate that, because, you know,
yes,
that's more of a push technology, which is helpful rather than a go to the website thing. So I could see some people wanting that. So
okay, yeah, and we can even maybe use our, you know, directory, right? Our communication channel for the directory. Okay, great. This is great feedback, which is a nice plug and segue into our committee updates. So I'm going to turn over to Megan, and she can give us an update on the Caregiver Survey.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Jamie. So yes, I just wanted to talk through a couple of things, and I am putting some of this also links to all of this in the chat. So what we have is a membership opt-in. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about that. So we're really interested in everyone joining the PTA. We would love for that to be the case, but we'd just love for you to just kind of fill out this form to opt in. There will be, you know, we as the PTA will cover the cost, so it's free, but just would love to hear from you to know that you're interested. Everyone is invited, of course. We would love for everyone to be with us in the PTA as we are supporting our community. In terms of the caregiver survey, so this is our caregiver engagement survey. We began this last year, and it was a really, really helpful way for us to understand the needs and wants in our community. So we are continuing that this year. We've launched it already, and we've extended it till the end of this week. I know Dr. Henderson sent out the link, I think, for the English version today. This has both English and Spanish below, just in case for folks. And we'd just love to hear from you in terms of any feedback you'd like to provide to us, so we can really keep that in consideration as we move forward in our programming and planning for the year. And I also just came back from the PTA council meeting, which was wonderful, and just wanted everyone to know that this is really, I think it's going to be a really exciting year in collaboration around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I'm really excited.
Thank you, Megan. All right, Jeff. Real quick question about that. Is that okay, Jamie? From the chat. Can you check somehow that you're a member of the PTA officially? And also, do you have to sign up every year or not?
Yes, so you do have to sign up every year. And just for some clarification too, last year we were in a pandemic, right? Everyone was a member. So the PTA opted, the president at the time opted, and the committee opted to make everyone a member. This year, what we're asking, right? Because again, it's choice, and we want everyone to feel like, hey, this is a choice. We are asking that everyone opt in to be a member. Okay, so we will pay for the membership. We just want you to opt in. And so if you have a question, whether you've registered or not, I think the easiest way would be to email kingartspta@gmail.com, and we can cross-check that for you. Okay. Also, too, quick ways to join is you go on to our PTA website. You can enter it through the school website. There's a tab for PTA. Once you get to the PTA site, there's Join PTA. You push on that tab, and then you can literally go in and complete the form that way. Also, too, we want to make it really easy. So you can also email kingartspta@gmail.com, and I will take your membership request and add you into the system myself. So whatever is easiest for you, right? If you want to go on the site and enter your information there, you can. We also have individual membership and household membership, and we're covering both.
And if you signed up like on one of those forms at the first day of school or the back to school party, you're good, you're set. Great, thank you. All right, Jeff.
Good evening, everyone. For those that don't know me, I am Jeff Parker, in charge of Guardian Engagement. Really just first off, I want to thank you all for joining us. These meetings are a great opportunity for us to kind of get together, provide information, but really, it's just great to see everyone and hear everyone and be part of that community. Obviously, as you all know, because of the rules surrounding what's going on in the schools, parents are not allowed to be in the building. So as far as room parents are concerned, it's going to look a little bit different than what we would normally anticipate if parents were allowed to be in the building. So if you have not had a chance to communicate with the room parents, or they have not emailed out to your grades, your classes, please be on the lookout for that. We do want to offer that we have one spot left in Ms. Gentile's class in 5th grade. So if any of you are in that class, please feel free to reach out to me directly so that we can add you to that list. Additionally, because again, we're not allowed to be in the building, it's going to look a little bit different. So expect either a variety of virtual events or out of school participation from the room parents there. But again, we are looking for any type of feedback or volunteer opportunities that you may like to provide. And thank you to everybody that's volunteered so far, and we're looking forward to a great year.
Yeah, and I want to remind everyone too, especially if you attend a curriculum night, right? I know in the sessions I was in, that there was definitely identified needs from our teachers, right, for supports. And it comes in a really variety of ways. Also too, our teachers are super creative in terms of even some of the social events and programming that they're doing inside the classroom. And so, definitely reach out. They've got things for us to do. Also, I want to put in a plug for tutoring. So there's a fluency program in the district, and it's for reading and math. And you can volunteer to support in one of the classrooms. It's lower grades, so it's not too complicated or advanced AP math or reading yet, but you can volunteer. That's another way to directly be able to come into the school and support a teacher. You can also recommend, if you go through that program, they do training, so you'll have training. You can also, pre-identify what school that you would like to work in. And so you can choose and opt in to be at King Arts, and you can opt in, right, for your grade. So that's another way that you can participate and not even be necessarily affiliated with the PTA, but with the district fluency program. All right, Betsy.
Hi, I'm Betsy, and I am working on fundraising for the PTA in the school this year. And we are about to get going on our first fundraiser of the year. And it's a new event called Dream Week. And it is an expansion, sort of a reimagining of the former Step Up fundraiser, which for those of you that were here before was a dance party. And Dream Week is going to be a dance-a-thon, a music-a-thon, an art-a-thon, and a read-a-thon to celebrate the literary and fine arts disciplines in our school. So students will keep track of the minutes that they do those throughout their school day, and we'll be celebrating that more so. Every student will get to participate whether or not they have sponsors for those minutes. We're going to be doing a crowdfunding campaign mostly. So, Jody, do you have something to add? Jody's also working on Dream Week. So that's going to be coming up. We're going to have sort of a kickoff, send home materials on October 21st. Hold on, let me double check the date on my list here. And then we're going to have a final celebration on October 29th. So be on the lookout for more info. And if you want to help, you can let me know, but we're really excited about it and we are looking forward to it.
Thank you, Betsy. So there are a variety of ways that you can volunteer and participate in the PTA. Again, you can go to the PTA website, right? You can enter through the school PTA tab, go to our site, and there's a Get Involved tab, and it lists all the variety of ways that you can volunteer. So for fundraising, as an example, or the Room Parent Community Connector, or even some of the DI initiatives, and there's a host of others, right? The fluency tutors I was talking about, there's also information there that you can learn a little bit more about that program and sign up. So I really encourage you to check it out if you want to get involved. And again, it could be an hour or 2 hours, right? Or it could be 5 hours, right? Or 10 hours a trimester. It's really set up with estimated hours, to fit your schedule and your availability. So we really want everyone, this is our school, right? It's all of our school. So I'm going to do a quick check here. Is Dr. Henderson, is she on the line? Does anyone see her there? I'm doing a quick look here. Okay. I do not see her on the line. So why don't we, does anyone have any questions? Why don't we take some questions? Anything in the chat, Matthew?
Yes, there are a couple questions that were, but they were sent to all of us. So
Okay.
Ms. Church asked if teachers, this question's back here. Yeah, Megan answered it already. Teachers are absolutely welcome to opt in as well. Betsy's question about link for tutoring, Megan's on that. Dates for Dream Week, on it. A lot of questions, a lot of answers too, it seems like.
Okay. Yes, the fluency information too is on the PTA website. Karen, did you have a question? Is that your hand up?
Figure out how to unmute there. I'm sorry, I was in my car. I actually just found out about this right before the meeting, so I apologize. I wasn't prepared for it. That was one thing, was like, how do you find out about the PTA meetings? Is it supposed to be emailed to you? Or is it, because all I got was, I got the alert on the Facebook group.
Okay.
That's one question, and I have two others.
yeah, no, great question. So there's multiple ways. We try to reach you multiple ways. So one way is Facebook, the PTA site there, social media site. Also, all of our events, upcoming events, are listed in the King memo, right? So there's a section after Dr. Henderson gives all of the updates and important school relevant information. There is a PTA section, and there's all these save the dates. And so you're going to see, like, for example, last night we had an 8th grade transition meeting for them going into freshman year. So all the PTA related events and happenings around town are in the KFM as well. And then you also have the option to go to the website. So Ms. Jacquez, our librarian, she puts all of the PTA events on the calendar. So there's a calendar, if you look to like on the school site, left-hand bar, there's all the dates of upcoming activities. So she adds it there. And then we also put it on our PTA website. So there's that tab on the school site, you click on it, and there's also an option to see our calendar. So we've got it in multiple ways. And then Kari and Sarah also send out routine updates with all the events and activities coming up through our a variety of different communication channels. So some of them are your classroom updates if it's relevant to your class of your students. Karen, are you there? I think I lost you. Okay, any other questions? Oh, there you are.
Sorry, I think I got disconnected, of course. You're a little bit near in the car. The second question I had was that I didn't receive any sort of invoice or anything for the dues for my daughter. My daughter's a kindergartner, so I'm new to King Arts. So is that, I know they were having issues with the software and things like that. Is that something that we'll get a notice for, or?
Yes, yeah, you will. So and I haven't gotten mine either. So yes, they are still working on that system, the new system transferring. So they will be coming, but many people haven't gotten them yet. I haven't either.
And then my third thing is just to tell Betsy that I'm interested in the fundraising, helping out with that. So she wants to take my name down. So
okay.
Oh, great. Okay, I'm gonna send you a message.
Okay, yeah, that's in my wheelhouse. So.
Oh, awesome.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. And by the way, Karen, we have a big one coming up. Well, obviously the Dream Week, right? That's first, but we also have 2 other big ones as well. So love, the more hands we have, the better. That'd be great. Fun ones. All right. Okay. Well, I will tell you, I cannot do state of the school. That is not in my wheelhouse, cannot do that. And so I guess we'll, if there's no more questions, let me just double check here. Anyone else have their, oh yeah, go ahead, Matthew.
I mean, this question is kind of a big one and related in some ways to what you just said, but there is a question about like any updates on the email that was received last week about the middle school incidents.
Is there, okay. Can you maybe like, so what's the?
That's the bulk of the question.
Just, is there an update?
Any updates since those emails, I guess, or do we know more about them?
So, you know what, I know we've got some middle school parents on the line. I don't have any middle schoolers. So I know that there was, I think, an email that went out to those families, maybe 7th and 8th grade. And so, I mean, I just know the general information that we all received from Dr. Henderson, but I don't know the specifics of what was shared with those grades.
I can speak as a middle school parent if that's helpful, Jamie, and I can also shut my mouth if that's helpful. So
no, this is no.
There was more communication that went out to the 6th and 7th grade families. I have a kid in 7th grade. I'm not sure why 6th grade was included. I'm sure there was also something that involved 6th graders. The incident that I'm aware of involved 7th graders. And there was some SEL work done on Monday at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day within those classrooms. Within the classrooms at the beginning of the day, and then a 6th and 7th grade assembly at the end of the day that Dr. Henderson facilitated. So.
Okay.
I can share too. I'm Kristen, my daughter's in 6th grade. And I think there were a couple of incidences last week. And I know that I think they sort of centered on the 7th grade, but they overlapped a little bit with 6th grade. There was a conflict on Thursday with some students that impacted a lot of other students. And then I think Friday there was also another incident that I don't quite know. All I know, and I get my daughter's version, which is like escalated up like 20 degrees from what actually occurred. So I don't quite know. So I don't want to speak to specifics. But I got the same emails as Charlotte that there's work going on to support the students and help facilitate a conversation about the school culture for middle school.
Which I think just reinforces the need to focus on our middle school this year. And again, this is just, I think that just, I think that shows it, that we really need to kind of put some attention there and kind of get underneath, what is happening, right? And so I do believe there is a plan. And again, I didn't get the communications, I don't know, but like there, just again, the general communication we all got was that there's going to be maybe a town hall with parents at some point as well. I don't know if that was in the communication, but that's what the sense that I got. I think there should be.
Yeah, I'm advocating for that. Any other middle school parents to advocate with Dr. Henderson. I think there's been challenges with the middle school culture for a long time that predate Dr. Henderson. And so I think, I've reached out to some middle school parents and teachers this year, and there's a strong interest with parents coming together with those teachers to really brainstorm additional extracurricular activities that we can help support, whether it's by volunteering or assisting teachers, to create more opportunities for fun and connection. And also just to really bring that community together to talk about what we can do together to shift that culture and create a safer learning environment for all those students.
Yeah. And I have heard, and again, I have heard from friends that have students in our other middle schools that they are going through similar challenges, and I think if you think of the, combination of being a preteen adolescent, you think about the social media, TikTok or whatever I'm not on it, so I can't even say it. I don't want to be on it. But I think that and social media and the pandemic and all the information that's piling in from all sources, that's a lot for, adults who have fully developed brains to handle. But then you compound that for, a youngster and, whatever situation or experiences that they were, faced with during the pandemic, right? I don't want to go down that hole, but I mean, I know we were affected, and family members and individuals that were affected, right, by COVID. And so it's a lot. And then you come back to school, right? And some pick up where they left off, some don't, some are trying to find their way. And so I know we also, and Kristen, I don't know if you had a chance to follow up with a professor that we were going to bring in for helping children with, anxiety and social emotional needs. But, that's something that we're planning for November. Maybe we need to move it up. We're going to have Romy from the Assistant Superintendent of Special Education come next month. And, really, again, like we need to make sure that our scholars are being supported and their needs are being met. And how do we advocate for our students and work through the IEP process and so forth? And I know there's questions and challenges there. So I do think maybe we should consider doing a town hall of some sort for the middle school. I also encourage people, if they feel comfortable, to fill out that caregiver survey. Especially if you have middle school concerns, we'd like to hear what they are and how we can actively solve against it. Any other questions? We did get an update from Dr. Henderson. She is unable to make it, which totally is fine. Okay, and I know we can pull in that state of the school, at an upcoming meeting for sure. Okay. All right. So please remember, you can reach out kingartspta@gmail.com. You can also go to the website, right? Look at volunteer opportunities, sign up to join if you would like. You can also see all the upcoming events. We have quite a few in October, some fun things, and get ready for Dream Week.
One more question.
Okay.
That if we have time.
Yeah, we have time. We got time. We got time.
You were going on that upward trajectory. You're like wrapping it up.
You were doing a great job wrapping it. Oh, I have a question too. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm just voicing a question from the chat. The question is, hi. I was wondering if there was any insight into how to reach administration about concerns regarding student issues. We've tried to reach out a few times about the bees situation at lunch. Any insight into how to reach administration about concerns?
Yes. So, and we've got Amy on there. I don't want to put you on the spot. But I am going to say, and again, hey, my son Quincy, I've told you guys, he too with the bees. We do know that the district has been monitoring it, has come out, right, and had, I think literally, Jody, you're on the line, like a beekeeper, remove a hive. It seemed to be abated for a while. They've come back out again, and they're at some of the other schools, but we also are down personnel. And so, Dr. Henderson has alluded, we are, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And I know when it's your child and you have an immediate concern or need, right? It's very challenging, but we are a K through 8 school. We have students, very diverse population. And we only have one principal, and we do not have an AP right now. We do not have an assistant principal. Okay. We also have some shortages in terms of personnel. So when someone's out, there needs to be a cover. And so I say that to say, from my understanding, what I've, again, taking in from the KFMs is that there's a lot going on, and she has to divide and conquer with the team and prioritize. And Jody, yes, please chime in. I know this is bedtime for you as well. But yes, please.
Sorry. So yeah, I can, so here's what's happening at the district level. And this was also shared as part of the district-wide update about the facilities that's happening for all of the schools. And so they realized that when they were doing this like yellow jacket abatement, that there was too much time, like beekeepers or pest control was coming very early in the morning or on weekends. And it wasn't close enough to when like students were there. And so they were realizing they couldn't really measure the effectiveness. So, you know, I think it's like, do all the things in all the channels and have some patience, knowing that we're not necessarily going to hear back from our teachers and Dr. Henderson. So I think the communication that's happened on our group Facebook page, we are sending that to our school district contacts and just saying, the bees are a situation at King Arts again, right? So start that daily coming at like 10 o'clock in the morning and do that kind of assessment first thing that day, as well as like letting your teacher know, as well as Dr. Henderson know. So we're going to just send the information on all channels, all at the same time, and, you know, just try and help this move faster. Like some schools have decided to move their lunch indoors sooner than others, and but we're outside. So we'll just keep talking about the bees and appreciate the continual feedback loop. So while Jody, I'm not ready to put on my like beekeeper hat out there yet, this is kind of like the path that they've asked for us to go down, is like send the communication through the schools, but we're also going to go to our contact at District 65 and say like, it's a situation, get those people back ASAP.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, so Jody Wickersheimer, she's on our capital planning committee with Shane Carey, Emmeline Miner, and Jessica, I can't think of your last name right now. And so they are, you know, monitoring and in contact with the district. Also, they've been doing incredible amount of work looking at our shading capacities and doing assessments for, you know, because we could not get any of the pop-up tents that some of the other schools did, just based on where our kids eat in our courtyard and the configuration. And so coming up with alternative solutions and proposals for that. So hard at work. And again, not to negate the bee situation at all, and not to negate the fact that, you know, communication, you know, prompt communication is needed. I'm just saying that, you know, when you've got, you know, I think she's trying to do the best that she can. I really do. And so I'll keep trying. You can reach out to King Arts PTA at gmail.com as well. And we will try to help you as well to get the answers that you need. But I really do want to, and this is a personal thing. Our school is a resilient school, but we've been through a lot. And I really, if you think about your own family's dynamics and so forth, I really hope that we can come together as a community and try to solve it here at home versus going more externally, right? Just because we want to try to uplift, right? I mean, again, there's some strikes, you're out, but I really think that this is a really special community, and I think we can solve these things together and build each other up versus do the opposite. So I just ask that we try to work with Dr. Henderson with some grace, but also some accountability, right? And work with our teachers and work with ourselves to get this figured out. I think we can do it. We've done some amazing things. I think we can do it. Betsy's hand is up. Yes, Betsy.
I am wondering if, you know, not to put Ms. Church on the spot, but I'm wondering if there's anything that we as a community can do to show our support to the teachers at this time, because I know how hard you're working. And I just, with not being in there, you know, it's hard to know like what would be helpful. So I'm wondering if there's a way to get that pipeline out that, you know, we're here for you. And if there's like something we can do, you know.
Well, one of the things I had spoken with Jamie about was as part of Liaison this year is kind of
drafting kind of some mini PTA minutes that I can just email to the staff after every PTA meeting to just say, hey, you know, this is what we were talked about at the meeting. And one of the things that I could add when I send that out this week about this meeting is I could add that very sentiment that, you know, parents brought up wanting to know how they can support teachers. And I can, you know, echo some of your words and put that out so that, you know, it's out there for the staff to see that, you know, it came up and it was discussed and it is something that you're looking to do. And then maybe put some feelers out in school to see if there's some more concrete things that maybe teachers are actually looking for in support that I'm not going to be able to just, you know, pop off the top of my head. But that's definitely maybe a couple of starting points with that.
Yes, thank you.
My experience, I was going to say my experience too, to answer the question about just in general, like not just the specific bees thing, is PTA meetings. I think, you know, Dr. Henderson on her own has those school meetings and there's usually a place to ask questions there. But yeah, I mean, the PTA is a good lever for that. And the meetings themselves, I feel like are a good time, you know, when she comes in, you know, typically it's pretty frequently. So when they do stay to school.
And, you know, and that's a great reminder to you, Matthew. And again, I know, you know, we're all working on, there's not enough hours in the day, right? And so, you know, there is that also, another thing is because we know that those meetings are happening, right? We might not be able to attend that meeting, but maybe we could generate a list or Google where we have those questions and concerns, right? And we make sure that those get asked at that meeting, or if that's a touch point, we know that she'll be there and we can get those answered, right? And then we can communicate those answers back out to the community. Again, obviously not ones that might be very specific to your student or your child, but more like in a general sense, can absolutely do that, right? Because yes, so let's do that, right? We're gonna add that because that's something that we can easily do and then make sure those are communicated back out. I do think we need to have a middle school town hall. And so if others agree with that, you know, in your middle school, like put up a hand or a heart or something. Okay, so a little, Charlotte, a little. Okay, thank you, Jason, Kristen, right? You know, let's do that. So let's get creative, but I really, okay, thank you guys. Yeah. We do have some fun things, some different things, ideas that we also have in mind to uplift our teachers, you know, our students and ourselves planned for this year. And so be on the lookout. That's in the budget that you guys will see in October, some itemized things, some really fun. I think it's fun. We'll see. Amy said she thought some of them were fun. We shared. And Mr. Rooney. So some more to come on that. Karen, I see you have your hand up. Did you have a question?
Yeah, actually, after the breakout session at the curriculum meeting, Mrs. Wartenberry and Ms. Ramos, who are the two kindergarten teachers, were stating that they were short on certain supplies. I sent Mrs. Wartenberry an email after that asking specifically what she was short on. Something that she had mentioned is because the school as a whole has meals provided for all the kids this year, which is fantastic. However, the meals do not come with napkins. Something as simple as napkins, and like she says, there's like food everywhere. Like they just don't have that. So I ran out to Target. I grabbed a couple of big things and I provided to her, and I sent her a follow-up email going, you know, anything else you need, just let me know, let other, you know, the parent advocate that's for the class know. You know, there's a lot of parents out there that are willing to, you know, do that Target run or whatever it needs to just make it smoother so that you can concentrate on teaching the students instead of, is there mold growing in the corner, something like that, or attracting the bees or whatever it is. So I had sent her a follow-up email saying, is there anything other supplies? And she said that some things had come to her mind. And I've seen, you said you're not on TikTok, I am.
It will not be.
Okay, well, a lot of teachers are on TikTok, and some of the teachers actually put wish lists on Amazon of things that they would like in their classroom, not just like supplies like wipes or napkins, but like things that they would like to have in the classroom to help students, especially students that maybe are on the spectrum or along those lines. And it's interesting because the needs are not like $1,000 items. They may be, you know, a $5 item or a $10 item, but that all adds up when if a teacher's paying for it out of pocket. And there's plenty of parents out there that'd be willing to know that it would help their classroom go smoother. I suggested that to Mrs. Wartenberry, and she seemed to be receptive to the idea. And maybe that's something as a PTA we can suggest to the teachers as they put like a wish list together for the different classrooms that we could maybe help everybody do better, because as a whole we go higher together.
Yes,
so that's all I had to say.
I absolutely agree with that. And there's a couple of things that are coming through in the chat that, you know, I'm hoping that people are on the exec team are capturing and can speak to. I think it's really hard. Okay, so my dad was a social teacher in a K-8 magnet school, my school. And sometimes it's really hard. I just remember him like, there's things that he needs, but he's like, I don't want to ask, I don't feel comfortable asking, you know, my parents to provide these things. And so that's why like the room parent and the community connector, like they can be that voice for the teachers to collect those items, to do that, right? So I think you said it best, Karen. It's like, so they can focus on the learning and teaching, but they know the operational needs, and like there's safety needs, right? Cleaning supplies. I know, you know, my teacher for Quincy's class has asked for cleaning supplies, right? The district does give us some cleaning supplies, but we also know our kids, and we know like every day, you know, it's like those things can be used up really, really quickly. And so if we lean on that, that's great. I think there were some ideas about, you know, the Amazon wish that we can collate those. Also, we do have mini grants that teachers, we're going to be presenting at the next staff meeting in October about the mini grants, so they can actually apply for grants. Going back to, I don't have it up on the ready, but remember there's that bucket that we have for mini teacher grants, right? And educational, non-educational discretionary funds. That's in one of those buckets as well for Fine Arts. We have money set aside for them to use as well. So as soon as we can get the grant process moving, and also some of those little incidentals collected, I think that will really be helpful to them.
And Carrie and Sarah, let's, you know, on the suggestion above, let's follow up on that of just a form to suggest topics, the pressing topics for PTA meetings, or just things that we can advocate for parents and on any meetings, Jamie, that you have one-on-one with administration or anything, you know, just basically a way to get, you know, besides Facebook, so you don't have to join Facebook if you're not into Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. Risha and Sarah, did you ever ask her question?
Honestly, it was about the bees. I promised my kids I would ask. So when whoever asked that, I was like, oh, I don't want to ask. Thank you.
Just please, for those that don't know me, don't misconstrue the laughing. I do not think this is funny. Okay, I really
don't. Not, but
I'm just like, it's a real, I mean,
the bees. I was like,
yes. So I don't think it's fun. I don't think it's funny. It's just my coping mechanism, because my children are traumatized by them as well. So, okay, Risha.
I just wanted to go back to that comment about helping the teachers. And I'm one of the room parents for, and Jamie, you know this, for our 4th grade class. And I had found out from my son that she was spending like chunks of her paycheck to get supplies for the classroom. And not just like supplies, like cleaning supplies or anything, but it was also like she wanted to get those yoga balls for kids that can't sit still, to kind of have something to like help them, or, you know, about. So it was things like that. And then she mentioned how she wants to buy some books about the unit they're working on. And when I told her that, you know, just let me know and I'll reach out to the community, the classroom and the parents, she was just so appreciative of the effort. So if you just want to like reach out to your room parent or even directly to your teacher and just plain just ask them like, what do you want? I think that would be the first step for whoever wants to, because the teachers are doing so much at this point, like, and there are nothing but amazing right now. So as a parent, I just want to do anything in my power to help them.
Hey, and guess what? If you don't have discretionary funds in the moment to go out and buy supplies, you can send an email, maybe if you have time, or at a drop up or pick up and just say thank you, right?
Right.
Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. Like that, sometimes that can go quite a way. Right?
Absolutely. I don't think they only need monetary funds. They just need some appreciation as well. Just thank you, like you said. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just jumping in on that, like for some teachers that maybe don't feel comfortable asking their families to provide that stuff, is this something that Ms. Church could include in her email to staff, just that the PTA has funds to support needs like this if the school district does that? Is that something that we can do, Jamie?
Can you give me a little?
So you guys, so we do, this is the bureaucracy of it, right? We do have a budget, right? Let me just, I know we're past time. I could flash it back up. We have a budget and those budgets are supporting a lot, right? We've got our grocery resource program. We've got our fine arts programming, right? We've got our, physical education. I mean, there's each department gets funding that we're allocating. Then we have mini grants for special items and things like that. We also have our students population, right? So we've got our scholarship programs. We've got activities and events that we need, again, to help. So there's a lot. So I'm not saying that it's just not like, hey,
well, yeah,
we've got and we've got to raise money as well, right? Because any unused funds go back to the one fund, right? Mm-hmm. And back. So
maybe Ms. Church could just mention that this came up, that at the meeting, that people are aware that classroom materials are in need around the school. And that room parents will hopefully be reaching out to help set up an Amazon wish list and help support that. Maybe just, so they can start thinking about what might be needed. And then the families that are able to support that, will hopefully be on it. Does that seem fair, Jamie?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yes, absolutely. And again, it's just, I want to make sure that we're, our voting members, everyone's in alignment with how we're spending the funds, right?
Yeah,
and
totally.
Because, not everyone's on this call. So I just want to be cognizant and respectful of that.
Yeah.
But yes, we should get
so
those
then it
lists.
makes sense for each teacher to have their own wish lists and people can support as they are able to. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And if it makes it any easier, they can have one wish list per grade. And that way each teacher doesn't have to go in there and do it by themselves.
Yeah, one of my concerns is I want to make sure that the supplies and resources are getting to where the needs are across all of this classes as well, right? So,
and the wish list that they would provide, they can do it. I've seen these before where they can do it where if parents or whomever wants to contribute, they can do it anonymously. So they don't necessarily have to pick particular items. They can just send an Amazon gift card or something along those lines just for the teacher to have for supplies. And they can do it anonymously because sometimes parents feel uncomfortable giving because they don't want their name in there or they want, they don't, or for whatever reason. So, So I have seen that happen. And it just so happened, I just received the email from Mrs. Mortonberry on her supplies request. So I'm very excited because I feel like I should run the Target right now.
Yes. Okay. So I know we're past time. I just want to, those are really great. Yes, I agree. Those are excellent points that you just made, Karen. Back to the bees for a second. So I think someone did mention that, you know, there are schools, how their solution to it is that they're returning to eating inside, which presents another whole, do I say gamut of concerns. So, so that, you know, I don't know where people are at with that. As the temperatures are, and the temperatures, I mean, it's hot, it's cold, it's hot, it's cold. So it's hard to say, but like that is, I think, and this is something we would need to get confirmation on from, you know, Dr. Henderson and the team, but I think their priority is to make sure kids are outside. Right? For the fresh air, for safety. And also too, like we just, you know, green spaces helps with mental health. Sunlight, right? So it's kind of like what, so we've got to figure out, Jody, here around the district with these bees. Kids getting stung and hit, it's not good. But we also want to try to stay out as long as we can. And keep these numbers down. All right. Yes. Okay. All right. Going once, going twice. Any other?
Is there a Yellow Jacket committee?
It's called the Capital Planning Committee.
Okay.
So and
somebody,
I mean,
yeah,
you guys.
Somebody has ideas.
Okay.
Yes, Yellow Jacket Committee does sound like a band name, I have to say. But anyway, like a kind of hippie band.
Yeah, and you know, this is the thing. You can always email directly the district as well, right? You don't have to. You can voice your concerns directly to them as well. You know, so I don't say that you don't have to. I mean, obviously you can go through that channel, but I think it is helpful if we kind of divide and conquer and like, you know, this is a priority and focus for us, the bees, the shade. And so collectively, I think we can make some movement on this. Does anyone have an inspiring quote we could end on? And just kind of something uplifting here. Does anyone have a quote handy? Charlotte, you usually have a quote on the handy. Anything? You got anything? Our writers?
Let's end on a good Dr. King quote here. The time is always right to do what is right.
Enough said. Right. All right. Megan, can you do me a favor and capture the public comments so that we can make sure all these fantastic ideas we can follow up on?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Church, yes, please. If you could follow up with that, that'd be great. I think, you know, what's really helpful, I guess we wanted to end on that quote. So Charlotte, I might have you say it again in just a second to close us out on that quote again. When we see positive progress, I mean, I know we had a challenging Thursday and Friday, some families in the middle school. So that garden activity, I don't know, for me to like drop my kids off and see that, right? It's like, it's hope, right? Is just keep pushing forward together. We can do this. There's great things and there's challenges, and just let's be real with them and work together as a community, as a family to solve them. And Charlotte, that's your cue.
The time is always right to do what is right.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.